This game is horrible.
This game is so bad, I really don't want to play it. But Darth Vader came from the planet Vulcan and said that he'll melt my brains if I don't, so I don't have a choice.
The first thing I really admire is how well it followed the movie. And you gotta love that music.
Great Scott!
Sounds just like the movie, right?
No!
And that's it. It just loops over and over again. And you're not gonna believe it, but that's all you hear the entire game.
I don't believe it!
Yep, from the title screen all the way to the end, the same music.
No!
I'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in my ear than subject them to this horrendous garbage. Now about the gameplay, well, you're racing against the time limit, and you have to collect clocks to get more time. So that's pretty creative, isn't it? So you're walking through Hill Valley, and every single thing you can imagine is out to kill you.
Holy
Bullies, hula hoop girls, killer bees, and guys holding glass windows, just like in the movie. What happened here? Is this Hill Valley or is it hell?
No, it's Hill Valley, although I can't imagine hell being much worse.
I never knew a hula hoop girl could be so deadly. Why'd she want to kill Marty anyway?
He's an
Not to mention it doesn't even look like Marty. Look at that black helmet head. Also, when did he ever wear that sleeveless black shirt? Oh look, I got a bowling ball. Remember that in the movie? Remember when Marty goes around throwing bowling balls at people? Whose idea was this?
Buttheads.
What were they thinking?
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Huh?
Ah, the skateboard. Now that makes a lot more sense. But it's the most annoying thing in the game. Yeah, it makes you go faster, but you can't stop. You crash into everything, and it makes it a whole hell of a lot harder.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Jumping is useless. Try jumping over the bench, you'll never make it. So what's the point of having a jump button if it doesn't help at all? What are those guys doing with that window anyway? And why are those giant bees always coming out? Give me a break. And what the is Marty doing when he gets killed? It looks like he's having some kind of seizure. I mean, I guess I'd have a seizure too if there were bees and hula hoop girls and all this weird coming at me. I mean, just leave me alone. I'm trying to collect clocks.
damn. Damn. Damn, damn.
I never got too far in this game, but after the walking stages are over, you go to the cafe, which by this time is a breath of fresh air to see something different and get a break from that horrible music. So you move up and down behind this counter throwing milkshakes at people, and if any of them touch the counter, you're done for. You think it would be easy to hit them, but it's not. Common sense would say if you stand in front of someone and throw something, it would hit them. You can't tell where to stand. Now, if you actually have the patience to get through the cafe stage, guess what's next? More walking.
No! Oh, please, God, no!
You know what's the worst thing about this game? Is that it bears the name Back to the Future, a movie well worth putting more time and effort into making a decent game. And the movie came out in '85, the game '89. There's no excuse. No excuse. Just suddenly orders are passed. Quick, make a game, name it after a big movie, and then just spit it into all the stores for all the kids to buy for 50 bucks. Yeah, 50 bucks. There's no internet to look up reviews back then. It was just, you know, you buy a game and you hope for the best. And with Back to the Future, how could you go wrong? Oh yeah, you can go wrong, alright. Like if I just into a bag and wrote Back to the Future on it, that would be the same as this awful piece of It brings my to a boil. What a piece of I'll never play it again either. It's my last time. I'd rather eat out the rotten of a road-killed skunk than play this game ever again. And I'm dead serious too. And you know what's worse? You know what's really worse? Guess what? There's a sequel!
Yes, it's true. Back to the Future 2 and 3. Two games for the price of one. Let's check it out. Holy look, the DeLorean. Now I remember that from the movie. Not so much the piranhas, the snails, the weird face, the running frog, the bouncy thing, the thing in the sewer that comes out and kills Marty, the little dinosaurs, the cloud that drops pellets, and the whatever the hell that is. And look at those. What are they? Goombas and the spiky thing ripped right off of Super Mario Brothers? Slackers. And every time you die, the DeLorean drops you off, and it seems like it always takes you in the opposite direction of what you're trying to go. Soup. Oh God, don't let the blue bird get you. Get the key, get the key. Yeah, the hoverboard. Cool, a bonus stage. Wow. This.
I wish I could go back in time to prevent this game from being made. Unfortunately, I need to build a flux capacitor, and I also need some plutonium to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity, so it's out of the question. So, let's end on a positive note. There's got to be one good thing about this game, and I know what it is. It fits in a toaster.
He's gonna take you back to the past to play some games that suck. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
It's time to go back to the past. Again. Remember when I was the angry Nintendo nerd, reliving the frustrating games from my youth? Well, not much has changed, but I was never really satisfied with my older videos.
I've always wanted to go back and complete them the way I originally intended. The McKids video, for example, I felt like there should have been a dancing scene with Ronald McDonald, Grimace and the Hamburglar, and Dracula, and Skeletor.
Sonic Boom! Sonic Boom!
In the Friday the 13th video, I shot Jason Voorhees in the head.
No good piece of
That made me look like a cold-blooded killer. I always felt Jason should have shot first.
game, you no good piece of.
I'm just kidding. I have no intentions of changing my older videos like that. But with all seriousness, some of the games I've done, I could have covered them a little better. Mainly the Back to the Future games. But first, let's take a look at some of the other games that I could have done better justice.
For example, Top Gun. Even the title card could have used some extra work. Look how that is. Oh, okay. Well, that's way better. I only played through half the game, and considering how short it is, I really wish I would have shown the ending. The final target is a space shuttle. That didn't even happen in the movie. Why are we destroying a space shuttle? Can't let those go to space. Oh, come on. Do I really have to land the plane one more time? Couldn't the game just end right there? I accomplished the goal. Who cares if I crash the plane? We'll just say it's a suicide mission. A lot of people questioned why I had so much difficulty trying to land the plane, so let me explain it better. Pushing down makes you go up, and up makes you go down. For flying games, that's standard, but the on-screen instructions don't make it clear what they're telling you to do. Does up mean push up, or push down the fly up? Speed up? Okay, now it's saying up, up, so is it still telling me to speed up, or fly up? Or no, I'm a dip. It says right there, the altitude and speed. So just follow the numbers. Don't pay attention to the flashing instructions. You can tell that thing to go its face.
I'm gonna land this thing. Oh yeah, I'm finally gonna land the plane. This time, I'm gonna do it for real. Oh, I got it. I got the speed right, but the altitude's off. Oh, I'm going too fast. Hey, if anybody sees that plane, can you let me know?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I already mentioned the part where you go into the nightclub and find Jessica Rabbit's phone number. It's an actual 800 number that you're supposed to call. Back then, if you called the number, you would have heard a recording telling you some game tips. How did I resist not calling that number for real? Let's call it and see if it still works.
No credit card? Try Collect Callback. Dial 1215 Sex Talk and we'll call you right back, connecting you to hot live talk with students, housewives, and working girls. That's 1215 SEX.
Wow, the number has definitely changed. And we now have a Nintendo game that gives a phone number to a sex hotline. That is awesome.
And what about Judge Doom? He's one of the most difficult bosses in video game history, and I barely said a damn thing about him. Anytime Doom hits you, it takes a great deal of damage, but when you hit him, it doesn't do much. With such a huge assortment of weapons, you'd think that there would be one that inflicts more damage on him. But nope, he has no weakness. All you can do is punch, punch, punch. It may seem easier than it looks, but Doom has no clear pattern. You gotta get lucky and just get him in the right rhythm so you can keep hitting him. Once you knock him down, you think it's all over. But no, you gotta pick up the dip cannon. But before you can use it, you have to select it. Like, no why wouldn't I want it selected? The worst part is that now Judge Doom kills you with one hit. It doesn't matter how full your health is. Anyone's natural reaction is to tap the button, but that won't get you far. You have to know to hold down the button, and only that way can you beat him. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. With this episode, everybody seems to be happy with it. That's fine with me, but it could have gone on much further. I only showed the first 3 levels, just barely. I mentioned the tough jumps in the sewer, but this one in particular I've always obsessed over. Now, I gotta pay my respects. This jump. As a kid, I spent hours on this part, and in 20-something years, it hasn't gotten any easier. It's all because of this stupid platform. They don't give you any room to make the jump. Whenever you fall, the water current takes you back out to the street. Then, you have to go all the way back through the building before you can even get a chance to try again. Ugh, I hate this. And don't tell me you can just walk over it. You can try creeping up on the edge and giving a light tap, or you can forcefully jump as hard as you can. You'll never make it, not without a lot of luck. The Technodrome, jeez, anybody who's made it this far knows what I'm talking about. Before you can even fight the Technodrome, you gotta find it first. You go in these underground caves fighting the toughest enemies yet. They jump all over the place, throw lots of and they're too stubborn to die. At the end of the cave, you'll either find the Technodrome or an empty room. So it's back out the way you came. Each of these caves, you're guaranteed to lose one turtle. By the time you eventually find which cave has the Technodrome, you're lucky if you have any resources left. You're beat to hell, and here comes this big mecha giant shooting lightning, firing bullets, and catapulting an infinite army of foot soldiers. Sometimes there's so much on the screen, the game goes to slow motion. Don't you love it when Nintendo games do that? I have managed to beat the Technodrome. After that, you go inside. Wow, this Technodrome is huge. It didn't look that big on the outside. I'm down to one last continue here. I'm not gonna make it. Oh no! Ah!
Now, of course, everybody's got to understand, just because I'm going back to some of the games I've already done, that doesn't mean I'm running out of games. Just look back there. Look at all these games. I got plenty to work with. But now, it's time for the main event.
Hey, I'm having deja vu here.
It's time to go back to the past, to go back to the future. I revisited this miserable turd from my childhood, and now it's time to revisit my revisiting of it. I wasn't satisfied with my incomplete review of it and my lack of attention to the sequels. I guess you could say I was a slacker.
Even the shirt I was wearing was all wrinkled. I don't know what the hell happened to it, but even worse, I just threw it on and didn't even take time to button it. I already mentioned how the game has nothing to do with the movie. You're collecting clocks, throwing bowling balls, and dodging bees and other bizarre things. One thing I didn't elaborate on before is how Marty has some serious problem with his legs where he can't stop walking. You think this is a flying game because you can't stop. Imagine the problems Marty must go through on a daily basis, being cursed to walk for all eternity. Imagine trying to order at a fast food restaurant, or any restaurant. Imagine going to work, or trying to use a bathroom, or fly on a plane. He can only stand still when he's behind a counter at a cafe throwing milkshakes. Anybody who's played this cafe stage knows how unforgiving it is, and I've talked about it already.
But wouldn't you like to know what the rest of the game is like? Do we ever see Doc Brown, or does the DeLorean ever make an appearance? Or any of the other things from the movie? Let's find out.
The rest of the street stages are all the same, except they change the color. No effort, time is money. Don't design another stage, just change the color, and kids will think it's different. Do they think we're idiots? Then we come to an empty classroom where Lorraine, I guess, is shooting hearts at Marty. What is he, the teacher all of a sudden? And what's he catching hearts for? I suppose it's like in the movie where Lorraine has a crush on Marty, but that's his mom, so he's trying not to let that happen. Why isn't he avoiding the hearts then? Oh, I see. I guess he's catching them in a book or something? It's the most literal interpretation of a movie. It's about time, so let's have clocks. It's about romance, let's have hearts. Was this game designed by a human being, or did they just feed the movie into a computer to process and then shit out this nonsensical poop? Once again, like the cafe stage, you have to score at least 50 points. Then it's on to more walking stages, and after that, it's the Enchantment Under the Sea dance where Marty plays guitar. What do? You have to catch musical notes. What more did you expect? I'll tell you one thing, it's certainly no Guitar Hero or Rock Band. Why does Marty play the guitar like a stand-up bass the whole time? Why is he wearing a boiler suit? I guess the same reason he's wearing a black muscle shirt. Where's the red jacket or the suit? Couldn't they have gotten Marty to look anything like he did in the films? And what about the music? Wouldn't this have been an opportune time to hear Earth Angel or Johnny Be Good? Okay, wait a minute. It is Johnny Be Good. On crack. If they can make the DuckTales theme sound awesome in 8-bit, why not this? At least you get some different music for once. Next, more walking. And finally, the DeLorean. Yes, the DeLorean makes an appearance after all. This is supposed to be the scene where Marty's trying to get back to the future. The streets of Hill Valley are getting slammed with repeated lightning strikes. All you have to do here is dodge the lightning. That's all. Why are you dodging lightning anyway? Isn't Marty trying to get the lightning to hit the DeLorean to generate the 1.21 gigawatts and send them back to 1985? Isn't that the whole idea of the movie? Anyway, that's Back to the Future NES. No special ending. Nothing. That music.
Well, now that we've seen the whole game, we can conclude that it has some relation to the movie, but it doesn't have any of the familiar music cues. And don't tell me it was some kind of licensing issue, like they were able to license the movie, but not the music that belongs with that movie that we all recognize. No Back to the Future theme, no Power of Love, no Back in Time, no Johnny Be Good. Well, this.
Next came Back to the Future 2 and 3. This one has the Back in Time song, or at least part of it. And the intro scenes follow the movie quite well. But then the game starts, and you see all these dinosaurs, snails, and runaway trash cans. What the hell happened here? It couldn't possibly be any more different from the film. In this timeline, when Biff brought the Sports Almanac to 1955, it somehow created a world full of piranha plants, killer clouds, and evil Martys. I like how it says Back to the Future on the bottom of the screen, just to remind you what you're playing. Otherwise, you'd forget it has anything to do with Back to the Future. When I first reviewed this game, I was being a head. I never explained how it's played, and that's where things get really interesting. You're supposed to collect 30 items and bring them all back to their rightful places and times. You find the items behind locked doors. To unlock the doors, you need to find the keys, which are found by killing random enemies. But the keys don't sit still. They fly off the screen the second they appear. Usually, you're not expecting the key, so you might not catch it. Once the key's gone, it doesn't return, not unless you exit the level and come back. Even when you get a key, most of the doors don't let you in. I don't know the reason for this, but when you do find the right door, you'll get an item. But you don't get it right away. You have to do some sort of mini game. They're all different, but the goal is the same, to collect all the clocks. How original. After all that bull, you finally get the item, and now you have to find where to take it. I know where the game designers can take it, but that's another story. You have to find another room that's hidden somewhere obscure, like under a manhole or inside a pipe. Once you find this room, you think that's it. You return the item and then you're off for the next one. But no, it's not over yet. You have to solve a puzzle, a scrambled word. You select the object from your inventory that corresponds with the scrambled word. Like if I have a milkshake, I have to look at the word and think, is that milkshake? Well, it doesn't look like it. What if it's supposed to be root beer float? How would I know what they're calling it? If this is the wrong room and that word doesn't belong to the object, then you have to leave the room. If you try selecting the item, you will lose that item and have to go get it all over again. It's even more confusing that the objects in the puzzle rooms are never in the same place or time. You have to use the DeLorean to travel to the different time zones. And there's 30 of them. 30 items. How could it be any worse? Well, guess what? There's no save feature. Who came up with this? We're not even allowed to turn off our Nintendo? We have to beat the whole game in one clean shot? Don't be so I played for 2 hours straight without returning a single item. I ran from one side of the board to the next, traveled to different time periods, and searched every last inch. I just don't know where I'm supposed to go. It's hard to even keep track of where you've been. After you've found and returned the 30 items, you're only halfway through. You still have part 3 to deal with. Jeez, I could do something much more productive with my time. I could learn a new foreign language. I could study microbiology. I could train Siberian tigers. Instead, I'm degenerating my brain cells into 8-bit pixels. At least you can skip to part 3 with a code. On the title screen, hold B and select, then unscramble another word. If you know the code, you probably know the word. Why does everything have to be so cryptic? Why did LJN have to make every NES movie adaptation? Couldn't they have given somebody else a try? No, they wanted to incorporate the entire spectrum of awfulness. Purple for putrid gameplay, blue for bad musical abominations, green for graphical farts and garlic, yellow for poor lack of loyalty to source material, orange for aren't you a idiot, and red for high-stress, anger-inducing masochism. Put that all together, you got all the colors of the rainbow. Hooray, LJN. I'm enough, but now I got one more game, Back to the Future 3 on Sega Genesis. Believe it or not, it has the Back to the Future theme, but it sounds like it. What a piece of shit. Naturally, the graphics are a big step up, going over to a 16-bit console, and it represents the film far better than the Nintendo games. But there's one fatal flaw: the difficulty. You're Doc Brown on a horse trying to save Clara from going into the ravine. Unfortunately, the ground is littered with crates and other random obstacles, and the air is filled with birds, tomahawks, and all kinds of projectiles. You get hit once, it knocks you off your horse, costing you precious time. If you fall only a few times, you have to start over. Hazards come without any warning. The human brain cannot react as fast as this game demands. It's like a memory test. The only way to get by is to remember the whole level.
Jump! Jump again! Duck! Shoot! You processing? Stop being so blast!
It's really hard to distinguish which objects are hazards and which are just there for decoration, like this underwear. This is a perfect example of a game that starts out way too hard. It's only the first level and I can't beat it! From what I understand, there's only 4 levels. For a Sega Genesis game, that's pathetic. I guess they were too lazy to design a longer game, so they just made it more difficult so it'd take longer to beat, that's all!
Oh, that song. I am so sick of hearing that. Next time I hear Ghost Riders in the Sky, I'm gonna think about going 100 miles per hour on a horse, jumping crates and getting shot at and Oh my god, 3 Back to the Future games, and they're all horrible. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's right. Super Back to the Future 2 on the Super Famicom. This game must have been so bad, it didn't even get an international release. I guess I'll give it a try. Back to the Future game? Somebody made a good Back to the Future game? And it was only in Japan? What the is wrong with this world? We get these games, but not that one? Like, what the hell? Why would you do that? It's good. I mean, it's not great, but it's the best Back to the Future game I ever played. It's actually a game. Why bury the gem and dig up the turd? Innocent people have suffered through these keeps. People have developed hepatitis from this. People have gone on to live horrible lives, kicking babies in the If you would have went back in time and said to people, hey, there's a good Back to the Future game. Put this down and go to Japan. They would have looked at you like you're telling them to go teabag a goat on the surface of Mars. Well, thank you for taking a on us all. Well, hope you enjoyed my Nintendo days revisited. Oh, and guess what? Yeah, I hate sentences that begin with that. Guess what? Because you know it's never a good thing. But the fact is, I have one more game to revisit. I don't want to say what it is, let alone even play it. But I'm thinking about it.